transistor in this case. So this is correct way. Your first from 50 ohm you will have shunt or your stub, open stub, and then transmission line. Now let's go to the GA circle. GA circle was one at the top. So copy that. With and copy it, go to cell 3, and now you have to put this in at input, like how you put it at output. But what should be the first element from 50 ohms? Shall it be transmission line or stub?
So it should be stub, I think.
Yeah, because you are matching first is 50 and then 50 first is stub and then transmission line. So put stub first. Just cut it, Control X. Yeah, you can cut it. You don't have to drag it. You can. उसको डिलीट कर दो वायर को, पहले खाली उसको लगा लो. Delete the wire.
This one. Okay.
So now, yeah, move it up. And then connect both of them together. You have started your line. Yeah, first connect everything, then delete that line which is passing through the transmission line. Oops.
Yes, sir. Now
delete that line passing through the transmission line. You are shorting that line.
okay, sir.
And also connect your termination properly on the number 1 termination. Left. Yeah, you see that red thing? That should not be there. It should be properly connected. Just move it up. Press this and delete this first. Press. Yeah, and delete. There is also some extra line there inside the thing. You should also delete that. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So now you have input match, output, everything together. So if you do S parameter now, you have to check S21 and that should be close to your max gain. So let's run it and see what happens. We plot
S21
in dB. Yeah.
S21.
There you go. So Arvind, you have designed a linear amplifier which gives you a gain of 18.3 dB. Congratulations.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Mansa, do you have any question? Is it clear, or do you have any question? Anyone else?
So the power gain is to the output side, and
See, available gain, Mansa, is always at the source side. Available is from the source because source gives you what you can get, and then the power gain is what you can achieve, right? So if you see the slides, you remember, if you remember, na? So a power gain always to the yeah, it's always at the power gain is always at the at the load, and available gain is always at the source. Okay, so
we'll be getting S2 to be the maximum gain, right?
Not S22, S21, right? S21 is the gain.
Oh yeah, S21, yes.
Yeah, right. Because S21 is from second port to first port. So how much power is actually getting transferred from the input of the transistor to the output? That basically gives you the S21 of the device.
Yeah.
So that should be close enough to your. That should be close enough to your what max gain you saw when you were simulating your transistor. Okay. So Now I hope all of you understood this. You stabilized. You got that. By the way, Prabhanshu, were you able to try all this using your transistor model?
Yeah, yes, sir. I was able to do that.
Great. So it's working well.
Yes, sir. I've got the values, but still, I would like you to check it once in some
Okay.
other meeting, right?
Okay, we will discuss that. But I think you are getting hold of it, so that's nice. So now I think next thing which I will like to explain you is because eventually we will be moving to electromagnetic simulations. But before we move to electromagnetic simulation, I want you to understand the concept of basically the concept of biasing. And just give me 1 second. I need to do this. 1 second. Hello. मैं घर आ गया. So basically, sorry. Oh my God. Let me explain you. My writing pad. Where is the charger? So from here, our next step is, right now for biasing the device, we don't have any real circuit. It's just, how to say it, it's just ideal some component, right? So what happens in reality is that you can't bias your device that way. So let me show you, explain you first how the biasing works. One. Okay. Okay. So biasing the FET. So far what we have, so far we have a transistor, then you have a stability network, right? So this is say R1, this is R2, this is gate, this is drain, this is source. Then you have, from here, you did your input matching. Your input matching is a transmission line and a open stub. Okay. And then here you have a DC block. DC block, and it's connected to 50 ohms. At the drain, same story. You have a transmission line a stub. This is your output match connected to 50 ohms. And of course, here you also have, from here you have a feed, which is called RF choke or RF feed. And then you are connecting it to the voltage, like VGS. And similarly, here you have this RF choke and you are connecting it to VDS. Okay. Now, in practical cases, so this is your RF choke, this is RF choke. So what do you want? What is the task of bias feed, right? So basically, for the bias feed, so bias feed, what do you want? You want no, so in this path from your PA, your RF current is flowing. So you don't want this RF current to go into this direction to DC path. So this is the DC path. So you don't want any RF to go in this direction, right? So if you don't want RF to go in this direction, technically what do you want at this reference plane? You want this path, this current to see an open circuit. है ना? अगर यहाँ पर if I have this and I have this, in one case I have this thing, in another case I have something like this. तो इस केस में तो current flow कर जाएगा, but इस केस में because it's an open circuit condition, your current won't flow in this direction. All current will be going straight. So when we are designing our DC feed, the idea is that for RF, it should be open, but when I'm sending DC from here, it should be short. So I mean, not short, I mean for DC, it should be able to pass DC, but it should not allow any RF to come back. Okay. So that's what the main requirement of bias feed is, because technically these are power supplies. Okay. Now, if you have RF entering into your power supplies will be destroyed. So for that, we don't want any RF to go in this direction. It's not desired. Okay. So in that case, what happens is, can someone tell me what is that network? What is that network which can be used for creating an open circuit? How can we create open circuit? One way is you put a very large impedance. What does open circuit do? कि तुम्हारा impedance यहाँ होना चाहिए, ठीक है? तो यहाँ पर impedance के लाने के लिए एक तरीका तो ये है कि so your XC is equal to 1 over 2 pi FC, है ना? Frequency is fixed. So very, very, very small, tiny capacitor, if you will take, maybe you can get a reactance which is very big. But very, 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 very tiny cap, getting it is a challenge. Similarly, for XL is equal to 2 pi FL, which means if you have large enough inductor, which means you can put inductors of range of some, say, millifarads or microfarads, right? You can get very good inductance. So if you want, you can get very large impedance. But if you want to design these kind of inductors, you need big coils. You know, I don't know if you have seen in the winding, these kind of transformer windings are there in TV circuits and all, and they use large windings, coil inductors. Okay. But other way, which is a smarter way, we all read about transformer, right? So we read about transformer. This is Z0, okay, and this is ZL, and then this is your Zin, right? So we did read about the transmission line equation, and we read that I can use a lambda by 4 transformer to transform my impedance, right? So basically, if you guys remember, I guess Zn is equal to Z0 square is equal to Zn Zn times ZL, if I remember this correctly. So in this case, our Z naught is fixed. Say we take 50 ohms. But what can a 50 ohm if I take a 50 ohm 90-degree line, 50 ohm 90-degree line, what I can do is, if I put a short here, what will be this impedance? It will be open, right? Lambda by 4 is what? So lambda by 4 is 90 degrees, right? If you calculate electrical length, it will be 2 pi by lambda beta L, right? Electrical length is beta L. 2 pi by lambda, beta is 2 pi by lambda into length is lambda by 4. So this becomes pi by 2. So if your electrical length is 90 degree, it means it is lambda by 4. But what is lambda by 4 on Smith chart? If you look at Smith chart carefully, on a Smith chart, you start from 0 and this is 0.25 lambda. And then you go all the way again here, this becomes 0.5 lambda, 0.49 lambda. So technically 180 degrees is 0.5 lambda, 0.25 lambda, 360 degrees 0.5 lambda. So 0.5 lambda on Smith chart is what? 360 degrees. So lambda technically is 720 degrees. So if you say lambda by 4, that's what? 720 divided by 4 is equal to 180 degrees. तो अगर मेरे पास lambda by 4 line है and I am presenting an open here, तो how much I will move? I will move 180 degrees. तो move करके I will reach short. ठीक है? So to prove this out, if you go back to Smith chart utility, let's take this example, right? You have this Smith chart and let's put this impedance at short. Say I put it at 1 ohm. 1 ohm is like a short, right? Very small impedance. Now if I take a transmission line and I move all the way from short to open, see what is the E? I can say this is 90-degree line. So you can move from short to open by putting a 90-degree line. So this 90-degree line is called lambda by 4 transformer. Okay. So basically you are what you are doing, you are using lambda by 4 transformer to bias your device. And to do that, idea is simple. You will put a lambda by 4 line. So lambda by 4, which is 90 degrees line, and this has to be short. So how do you short in practice? You basically, what you will do is that you will put a capacitor, like you will put a cap here and connect it to the ground. So this point will be short. So this point will be open at your center frequency at F0. So if that's the case, then no RF will go into this path. Only DC will come through here, but RF won't go from here to here. So this lambda by 4 line will be used by you for as a biasing circuit network. Similarly, you are using DC block. Hello. Hey. Hello. So you are using DC block. So similarly, what you will do, so any DC block you have, right? What do you want? You want DC block is interesting. You know what does DC block does? It does not allow any RF. Oh, sorry. It does not allow any DC. So if a wave is like this, how to remember it is, it will pass through it. But if it is like straight, like DC, it will block it. So it won't allow any DC to pass through it. Hello? Hello? Huh? ये मैं क्लास में पढ़ा रहा हूँ अभी. Bye. So the value of capacitance is given by 1 over 2 pi fc. Okay. So for a DC block to act as short, what I can do, I can calculate value of capacitor as 1 over 2 pi 2.3 10 to the power 9 into whatever this xc is. And for this particular case, because we want DC to be blocked and RF to pass, I take my XC, my reactance is approximately equal to 1. So let me put it 1. So and see how much will be the value of this gap. So 1 over, can somebody calculate it for me? How much it is? 1 over this is 1 over 2 pi f over 2 pi f. That's it. So 0.069 1 over 2 pi f. Okay, 0.069 1.069. So this is nothing but as 0.069 into 10 to the power minus 9, right? Which is equal to, if I take 3 more zeros here, 69 picofarad. So I will just put 69 picofarad here, and also in the input path where I'm using DC block, I will change them to value of 69 picofarads. Picofarad here, and at the output, at the input, and similarly at the output, I will use 69 picofarad. Okay, so now let's go back and try to see what exactly is happening. So let's do step by step. So first, let's simulate and see what my max gain was. Keep a close eye on that. So my max gain is S21 dB. Okay. I can also write it in a table form. It's easier to read. S21, double click it, delete S21, okay. Just write it dB, bracket, okay, 18.38. So how much was the cap? I removed this DC block. So 69 puff. So I will take a C and I will put 69 picofarad. So at DC value, basically this has to act like a open circuit. So your impedance XC is equal to 1 over 2 pi FC. So at DC means that, you know, if your frequency is low enough, your capacitor value should be large enough to make sure your reactance is equal to small value. So XC is 69 here, and similarly I will replace this DC block by capacitor 69. So when we simulate, we should not see any change, any big change. So you see it's the same, pretty much same gain, nothing changed. Okay, now let's come to the bias feed. This part is a little interesting. So I am getting rid of this. What I told you guys was that we will use a transmission line such that the transmission line length is lambda by 4 at f0. So 90 degrees at 2.3. And be careful, if you don't put frequency right, this won't act as like a bias feed. So if you see tools, DC annotation, where is DC annotation? Oh, sorry, simulate DC annotation, pin voltage. So we are giving 2 volts here. So 2 volts was coming there. Now with this, let's see what happens. Technically, nothing should change. See, gain remains the same. 2 volts still remains same. Why? Because this is shorted through this voltage, you know, and because of that, you don't see any difference in your basically, you don't see any difference in your results, right? So 1 second. So I am just putting this cap because technically this voltage when you connect is nothing but like a pad, you know, and you have to manually make short there through this cap. So now similarly at VGS, you need a lambda by 4 line. So you copy this, same thing, same story, run it, and again have this cap there. So this cap serves 2 purposes, right? If there is any sort of leakage from here, oh, we don't need this when we are connecting this. So this capacitor basically what it does, it makes sure that you present a good ground here at this point, because if it is short here, this should become open circuit. Okay, so you see nothing changed, your gain is same. So through this you can easily bias your both gate as well as the drain of the transistor. That's very straightforward for you to bias it. Okay, is this part clear or no? Any questions so far on this part? Okay, looks like it's clear if nobody is asking. So now the thing was, all these were ideal elements. Okay, whatever you got exactly ideal Z, ideal E, ideal transmission line. But in practice, I told you earlier also that if you have a transmission line and it has electrical length and Z, the electrical length is basically the physical length of the line, and your Z is the width of the line. So it means this W is determined by Z and this length is determined by E. Okay, so now I will give you one substrate specification, and what we have to do is convert this entire circuit into a more realistic value of transmission line using the substrate definition. So let's copy this to a new schematic. So I will copy and name it as real substrate. Okay. So here is my, I need to tell you guys substrate specification before we proceed. And substrate specification is basically, so what happens is when you are trying to design like a matching circuit or like a transmission line, those are done basically on a substrate. So those substrate can be different types, like FR4 is a very common substrate which is used in most of the designs. It's very common, and it's also used heavily in industry. It's a cheap quality substrate, and on that you buy that substrate from a vendor, and then on basically on you buy that and then you print PCB on that substrate, right? So when you are doing that, you need to know what are the substrate specification of your device, because if you don't know that, then I mean you don't know how to design it. So it's important to know the substrate specifications. So it's because you know that how transmission line works is that you have this kind of a structure, and we did study this before, and then there will be a ground plane, right? And there will be a substrate which will be some material like XYZ, or sometimes this is silicon oxide, and it will have a dielectric constant, it will have a permittivity, it will have a loss tangent, and so on. Okay, so for that, let me give you a substrate specification. I think I noted it down somewhere. Just 1 second. Where is substrate? Okay. So substrate is, we can take Rogers, or just give me 1 second, I will. So for the substrate, I think this one will be, oh, sorry, my screen is not shared. Okay. So this is the substrate specification. You can write it down. H is equal to 62 mil. ER is equal to 4.33. Conductivity 5.96 E7.
So you're still not sharing the screen.
Is it? Sorry. Oops, sorry. I didn't press the. You see now? Yeah, I think it's coming now. Okay. So let me go here. So for defining a substrate, you go to T-lines microstrip, and there is something called as M-sub. You click that, and in this change the specification to what I'm doing, 62 mil. ER, or your permittivity, is 4.33. And mu R is 1. Conductivity is 5.96 E7. 5.96 E7. Then HU is 3.9 e to the power 34, which is fine. P is equal to 0.7 mil. So these specifications, what I'm entering, are usually available through the through the company you manufacture your PCB. So these are substrate specification. I mean, if you double click it and press help, it will show you what all of these mean, you know. So you see this is your substrate. So this is your ground plane. Then you have your ER, μr, 10D defined for the substrate, which is 10 H here is substrate thickness. ER is relative dielectric constant, μr is relative permeability, const is conductor, in this case if it is copper or whatever it is. HU is the height, total height of the cover, which means here, you know. And then 10D is dielectric loss tangent, like how much loss will an electromagnetic wave will have when it will travel through the medium, and then so on. And I mean, there are many things they have given about it. Mainly we use first 3 or 4 things to compute the to compute the line. Okay, so now what you have to do, you go option tools and go to line cal and say start line cal. Okay, now first step is change frequency 2.3 gig. Then enter all the parameters here, ER, mu, H. So ER for U is 4.66. μr is 1. Was it 1? μr is 1. Then after μr, H is your 62 mil. Then HU is 3.9 E34. T is 0.7. And D is 0. And this is. Okay. So this is what it is doing. It converts your ideal electric the ideal line length and the ideal characteristic impedance into width and the length of real width and the length of the line. So you know, this is W here and this is L, right? So let's say let's go and see what is the value of the line length here. So you see, for example, 50 ohm, 78, E is 78, right? So let's go say 50 ohm and E is what? 78. You put Z or E, and from your ideal characteristic impedance and the electrical length of the line, you synthesize what will be the physical dimensions of the line. So it shows your width should be 112.68, while length should be 591.89. So which means I will take now a real line, in this case amlin. So the line has the substrate which is already defined, right? Now the width of the line is what? 112.68. And the length of the line is 591. Okay, 5. So we will change one by one. So basically what I'm doing is I'm replacing this ideal line with this microstrip line. So technically when I change it, of course my S21, I won't get exactly 18.37 dB because now this is more realistic, you know, it is taking loss into account. So when I run it and then I plot my S21 dB, you can plot it or you can write it. I like seeing numbers, so I mean it's better I plot it, otherwise you guys will get confused. So S21 dB. So you see, you were 18 point something and you reduced to 17.58. So let me go back Let me go back to show you the difference. Okay, so you were here earlier. First, your case was you were 18.3. Now you remove this ideal one. You put the realistic value which has width and the length, and now when you run it, you see you have reduced your value of the S21. Now it's 17.58. Okay. Now coming back, you will do this thing for all elements. So replace all the elements which are in your circuit ideal to the real transmission line. So let's do one by one at a time. So input Z0 is not changing, so your width will always be the same. What is changing is E, so your length will differ. It's 27, 204.88. So I take this. So I remove this. To 4.88. Okay. Now this lambda by 4 line, same thing. 50 ohm, we will do 90 degrees. So 90-degree line, you can imagine it will be a quite long line, So 682.95. 112. So copy this again. Because if you don't put this length correctly, your DC bias feed won't work properly. Because it has to have lambda by 4 line electrical length, 682.95. So let's put this length 682.95. Okay, now this will be the same here. Okay, now similarly change this line. This is 50 ohm and 50 is the electrical length. $379.4. So width is almost same. Width is same for all the lines. It's just the line length is different. And then last one is 73.28. 73.
So it was 379. You wrote 397.
Very good. 379. Yeah, I am man. I've been working since 7 a.m. like in my lab, so I have no idea now. So if I might commit mistakes. So keep a close eye. 73.28. So this is 73. So 553.9. So copy this. Change the length to 553. So 554. Remove this. So we have changed all ideal elements into real elements, and let's run it. You see, your gain has reduced from 18 point something to 16.74. So in an ideal situation, of course, because if your results are idealistic, you will get that. But you can you can see, you can check the gain is not same as ideal case, because in realistic case it's including the substrate loss, it's including different things. Okay, so that's why you are getting lower gain. Your S21 is lower. If you want, what you can do, you can click the tuning knob button, okay, and try to tune your circuit. Basically, see if your gain can be increased, okay. So if you click this tuning knob button, what we want to tune is the length, because widths are fixed. We won't want to change the widths, but we can change the length of what? Length of matching circuits, right? There's no point of changing length of the lambda by 4 line because it's fixed. But we can play around with the length of the lines and see if we are able to increase our gain a bit. So it's around 16 here. So let's see what happens if we go and try to tune the lengths. So I will just decrease, for example, decrease this. So from 16.7, this goes 14.82. So bad idea. So let's take it back to where it was, 16.7. Then let me again increase. What about if I increase it? If I increase it, it also decreases. So it means that also won't work. So I have to bring this back to where it was. I increase the other length. So it increases a little bit. So basically what you can do is you can play around, tune the values and see if you can improvise your results. But it won't be equal to same as what you were getting in ideal case. It might improve a little bit, but not much. See, it's now 18. So what is happening is when you use substrate losses into the account, and when you have converted ideal match into more realistic match, your impedance location might have shifted a bit. So by tuning this, you are trying to bring it back as close to that as possible, but there's no guarantee that it will be exactly equal to max gain. But I guess 18 dB is good enough. So once I have it, I update schematic, close it, yes. Okay. So now you with this M line circuit, you do get some reasonable number of reasonable value of your S21. Now the thing is, from here, from ideal, now we have created this M line network. But this M line network is not enough, because what we want to do, we want to EM simulate it, which means that I will be basically simulating in electromagnetic simulator the real structure. So let's just go to layout and generate a layout. And if you say apply, you see this is what your network looks like. So this is your lambda by 4 line actually. So this is one lambda by 4 line. This is another lambda by 4 line, which is going on. One is for the drain, another is for the gate. So technically this layout is not right in the sense that, I will tell you what are the problems in this layout, and then you have to account for that first in your in your schematic. So first thing is, technically you basically have a resistor here, right? There is one resistor here. Then there is this R1 and R2. You have two resistors, and you want to solder that resistor such that one of the resistor is going to the ground, okay? And maybe I can show you a more realistic thing. In this, it's not clear. So a good idea is not to generate layout. You first have to clean up your schematic, because right now what is happening is, for example, this is one line, this is two line. You are just joining them, but this is not exactly equal to schematic, because technically there is a T junction here, and the T junction is not included in schematic. Similarly, you have resistors, and you will have to solder your resistors. So if you want to solder your resistors, you will have to have a gap on which you put like a resistance. It won't be a continuous line. So let me show you an example if I can. So your exact circuit will be something like this, you have a match, then you have a capacitor. Okay. Actually, this is also not good. Let me see if I can pull up some other circuit. Yeah, something like this. Yeah, this looks better. So basically what you have at in, let me just copy this in our, try to understand this from, because you will have to apply your brains to convert that schematic into something like this. So let's compare it with schematic, right? So you see in schematic right now, okay, let me also put a real picture, how does it look like. Let me see if Alex had okay, it's here. Okay, so you see your amplifier will be something like this. So what it means is that you have input match, which you guys have already designed, right? Then you have stability network. So if you look carefully, this is your input match. This is your input match, which you have in schematic. Okay, then you in input, so again you have a stub, you have a transmission line, and then you have two resistances. One is like this, one is like this. So in practice, what do you have to do, right? You have to, these are your resistors, you have to solder your resistors like how it is shown here, right? Just one sec. So how it is shown here, यहाँ पर तुमने एक resistor डाला है, उसको solder किया है, यहाँ पे एक resistor डाला है, उसको solder किया है. तो technically you need pad, like some pad here, some pad here, and then you will solder this resistor. Similarly, you will need pad, you will solder this resistor, but this is going to the ground, so you will have to make connection on this pad to the ground. Similarly, now this is your lambda by 4 line. और फिर यहां पर तुम्हारा कैप लगेगा. सी सिमिलरली एट आउटपुट दिस इज योर लैम्डा बाय 4 लाइन, एंड इधर तुम्हारा कैपेसिटर लग रहा है, वो जो भी सी है. देन दिस इज योर आउटपुट मैच. एंड देन इनपुट पर यू हैव अ डीसी ब्लॉक, so you need some extra line, or input you have to connect a connector, like how there's a connector here, because तुमको इसको connect करना पड़ेगा input और output पे, so you need some extra pad. And I mean, once you are matched, if you put anything which is, this is already matched to 50 ohms, so if you put like a 50 ohm any length, it won't change your performance. Okay, so you will need some extra length for the connectors. So now, step by step, what we have to do is we have to start making our schematic, which can look more like this, how can we? So now we will go back to schematic of our transistor, and step by step we will start adding stuff such that it becomes equivalent to what I was showing you. So before I do that, I want to show you a few things. There are two things, right? One is called TMT. You will be using this. And the second thing is called M-gap. This one, M-gap. So M-gap क्या करता है? M-gap concept is simple. When you have to solder a component, you try to understand this now. because in ideal world everything is good, but in practical world this is not how science works, right? So for example, एक resistor है. Resistor will be like this, and I explained you in the classes what a SMD resistor is. If you remember, at high frequency we don't want to use resistor वो simple जो lead वाले होते हैं. We use SMD resistors. So say I have this resistor, these are pads. So if I want to connect this resistor in series, what I will have to do, I will have to keep this resistor, and then my transmission line is coming like this and like this, so that I can solder it. And between them there will be a gap. So this will be a gap. And then, because if there is no gap, then it will be a straight line, and then you have to solder and it will be shorted. You don't want to short anything. Similarly for the cap, if there is a cap and you just put a direct transmission line, it will be shorted, right? So for that, what we will do, we will use this M gap across all the capacitor and resistor, such that the width is equal to the width of the transmission line, and spacing you can put 25 mils. ठीक है? तो width हमारी कितनी है? 112.68. Now if this spacing is 25 mil, so for example, I will have to keep it across my capacitor. Okay, here, and you need some extra pad for soldering. So say you have another 50 mil pad on the left of it, and then 50 mil you have on the right of it, like, so that you can solder this component, say here. So now you see you were matched, this element was matching to 50 ohms. Now you added another 50 ohm. It should not change anything, because you were already matched to 50 ohms, and your impedance corresponding to 50 ohms, your width corresponding to 50 ohms is 112.68. So any length you will add after matching, once you are matched, it won't change anything, because you are already matched to 50 ohms. So if you run it, oops, dbs21 minus 14, it means we did some mistake. Oh, this has to be mils. Mil. Do you guys understand this concept, what I'm saying, that why adding these 50 mils pad won't change anything? So your gain is still 17.99. So what I'm trying to say is this, understand one thing. This is important. So once, say I had some impedance, whatever, let's say I have this impedance, okay? And once I have this, I have this. So once I am matched to 50 ohms, so I am currently matched to 50 ohms. If I put anything after this, now this is already matching it. If I put any transmission line such that the impedance, characteristic impedance of my line is equal to this impedance, nothing will change. So delete. So say I was 50 ohms. And I take a transmission line and I try to add that transmission line. Nothing will happen, because transmission line is matched to this impedance. So basically no movement will happen, because I am already matched. So I am moving on a constant VSWR circle with a very, very small radius. So example, let me take this, bring it here. I'm trying to show you guys an example if possible. Say this. So right now this is 50 degrees, 90 degree line, 5 ohms or 100 degrees. Okay. So now if I bring this line close to 50 ohms, right, because my impedance is 50 and line characteristic impedance is 50, there will be no movement. I will be very close to my match. So similar thing here is happening. Once I am matched using this matching network, whatever I add after this network, nothing much changes. So so you see, that's why adding these L 50 mil 50 mil and adding this gap does not change any performance. Is this clear or not? Or are you guys confused? Please speak up, because Pravanshu, are you understanding what I'm saying or no?
Yeah, yes, sir. So we adjusted the 50 ohm line again using the substrate definition that we use.
Using this substrate definition, we converted the ideal transmission line, which was 50 ohm and some length, into what is the real value of that 50 ohm line. Like that 50 ohm line will have some width corresponding to 50 ohm.
Yeah.
So we know that width is 112.68 mils, right? And if whatever the length of that line is, we are putting that length, which we also, all these matching components have that length. We converted it using options, line cal, tools, line cal, start line cal. Through that we can convert all ideal lines into microstrip lines, which are more real lines. And once we have that, now we have to start thinking of a realistic design point, right? So for that we need two things: M gap. Why we need M gap? Because to solder any component, whether it is a cap or it is a resistor, you need to create a gap. So this takes into account that gap. So let me show you this thing in layout. How does it look like? I think then you guys might understand better. Let me just move it a little bit here.
And sir, what will be the parameters of this M gap that we put?
So M gap have basically two things, right? M gap has spacing and width. So spacing is I am putting 25 mils, and width I am putting equal to the width of my whatever of my transmission line was. So let me disable everything once. I want to show you how this M sub works. Then I think it will be more clear to you guys. So you see, let me generate the layout. So this is how M gap looks like. So it means you have these two pads, and when you had a resistance, you will put resistor like this and you will solder it. So basically you will have a gap. So this gap I'm keeping 25 mils so that it's not shorted, or you can have 50 mil gap. So if you say 50 mil, right, instead of 25 mil, you say 50 mil. So your gap will be more. So you can measure, right click, measure. This gap is, this is 20 mil gap. Why does this 20 mil? Oh, it hasn't generated yet. I will have to do apply. And okay. So this is when it shows this is my C2, and it is showing C2. You see C2 is my 69 picofarad cap, and then it is showing these two. So if you measure this is width equal to what width we have mentioned, and then this is 50 mil pad. Similarly, this is 50 mil pad, and this is the spacing is taking 20 mil. Why is that? The spacing we are mentioning 50 mil. Interesting. Let me double check it once. Or you can, I mean, either you can use this, or you can even manually draw it when you are creating a layout. But preferably, it's better to use this gap. So it's exactly like this. What it is shown here. S is the spacing. Width is the width of the transmission line. That's it. So we were doing right. So So this length of the gap is this is the spacing of the line. So once you are done, so let's go back. Let's create everything together. So now, also what you have to do is you have to place T junctions. What happens is when you are generating layout now, so let's do width equal to this first. So width 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So my all widths are same. Okay, I will show you the difference between two, why we actually do it. Okay, so you see, if you don't have this T junction, okay, and I will try to generate a schematic layout. You see, this is your gap, this is one line, and this is two line. Now, there was a specific length of the line, but what is happening now is there is this overlap between two, and effective length of the line might be less now. It starts from here, but we wanted to start from here. So there is a T which needs to be captured, and that T doesn't get captured if you don't use this T. Now, if I put this T, I want to show you the difference and say go layout, generate layout, apply. Oh shoot, I need to delete this first and regenerate it. So yeah, here is this T. So go layout, generate layout. You see, now this T makes sure that this connection happens properly between these three things. Otherwise, as you saw earlier, this was not creating a proper T junction. It was coming like this. So that's wrong, because your effective length which you calculated was from here to here. Okay, so technically you have to replace all the junctions whichever are possible in your designs. Go step by step and see how performance changes. That's your homework basically, because next time when you come, you will have to do this much, and you will have to, what I will do also is I will upload this workspace, whatever my workspace is there, so that you can check what I'm doing. And similarly, this T will go here. And before T, you have two resistance, right? So there will be this M gap across M1 along with pads. तो ये जो pad और M gap का combination है वो हर जगह पर आएगा, जहां पर भी lumped component है, any R, any C is there. So technically, I will do this. I will put 50. I have my 5 ohms, so I will put 50 mils on the left so that I can solder it. 50 mils I will put on the right so that I can solder it. Now you are adding all these 50-50, so your line length will change. Your matching, you are disturbing your matching which you did. So you will have to retune your circuit once you start placing these all. तो यहाँ पे देखो 50 mil आया, इधर 50 mil आया. Let me just move it so that you can see it clearly. So I have a T. I have this open stub. Then I have my matching network line. Then I have my biasing circuit. Then I have my resistor series R. Now because it has to be soldered, we will keep this M gap in parallel with it. Okay. Similarly for this parallel R, same चीज होगी R के साथ भी. You need to have M gap. Then connect this M gap across this R. और उसको भी सोल्डर करने के लिए हमको क्या चाहिए होगा, हमको पैड्स बनाने पड़ेंगे. तो सेम पैड we will use. This has basically, this will impact your matching. So your gain will decrease if you don't tune your gain. So after every step, whenever you add any M line, you have to tune your gain. See, let me just run it now. You will see gain will drop. It dropped quite a lot. From 18, it came to 9.7. Why? Because you added extra 50, 50, 100. Straight away you have added another 100 mils. So technically, if I reduce it to 145, my efficiency should be my gain should be slightly better. 15.6. You saw. So I added another 50, 50. So I have to tune my circuit. Similarly, a T will be here because this is also a junction. Anywhere where you are seeing 3 wires connected, all of them will be changed with a T. T, and then this will go to the transmission line. And then there will be another T here. There will be a T hoga. You add another 50 mils here because transistor will have a pad. You will have to solder that. So either भी एक T आएगा. I know it is getting complicated. That's why until you do it, you won't understand. Start doing it, you will start figuring it out. So you put another T here. Now if I generate layout, it might get more clear to you. Let me disable output because output will create confusion, and disable transistor also, and say layout, generate layout, apply. So see how beautiful this is. First cap, T junction, open stub, your matching transmission line length, your lambda by 4 line length for your bias, T junction. Here is where your first resistor sits. Here is where your T junction. Here is where your second resistor sits. And this goes to the transistor, which is exactly what this board looks like. Here is what your DC capacitor is there. Then you have, they are using bias before. So they have a bias line, and then they have this open stub, or better is the figure I was showing you, this one. Capacitor, shit, just 1 second. Okay, it's here. Yeah, capacitor input match, RR, lambda by 4 line C, lambda by 4 line C, output match ये. So input अब देखो how clean it is, right? When you use T match, everything starts making sense. This is your open stub. This is your transmission line of the match, है ना? और T का भी कुछ width है. So technically you also have to figure out how you can you have to compensate for this for that particular T's length. That's why your gain changes, and you have to re-optimize your design every time you add anything. I fixed input. Similarly, output also you will have to place T junction here, T junction here. So if you see now, your gain is 5.74. Okay, and so what you did was you added this another 50 mil, and you added another 50 mil here, and you added another T. So this length has to decrease more. So say I do 100. So my gain is changing a bit, but I have to see how much. So you have to optimize it. Basically, you will hit tuning button, and you will start optimizing this length. And when you optimize this length, you will know exactly what length you have to use here. So what I will recommend is start playing around with it, what I have told you today, because it takes some time to get accustomed to it. Your objective is that you have to come as close as possible to your gain. Okay. And when you are designing, make sure you are checking things after every step. I added everything together, so now tuning becomes harder. So the best step is add 1 T, simulate and see how much it has changed, and then tune the component length, whatever is needed. Tune that and see then if you are able to keep your gain at whatever constant value, whatever was needed. Okay, in that way what will happen is that you will, at each step you will know how much gain is changing and how much gain you can recover. So in this case, for example, it was 591. I changed my length because now my matching has all changed. So you see my gain increases to 13.6. So you should not do a blind tuning. After every step, when you add value of this pad for soldering, this pad for soldering, this T junction, you should be careful and you should pay attention that whatever the total length is, whatever extra length you have added should be deducted from your matching circuit. Or you can hit tuning button and start tuning this length and this length so that you start getting back your S21. So this is a task for you guys until Thursday. You guys should work and you guys should try to figure out what values you get. For add these T junction, add these add these values and see how much value of S21 you get once you start adding everything. Right? So this is what you can do. And see if you get some reasonable answers or not. Is it clear?
Sir, so only the lengths of the matching lines need to be tuned.
Length of the matching network lines, which is basically length of stub, length of line, transmission line, those needs to be tuned. Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, convert everything to it and then see what you get. See what you get. Another thing I want to just clarify before you guys leave is, spend some time on it. I mean, if you think it's a very hard, I'm not able to do, of course you won't be able to do, because it will seem very straightforward when I am doing, but when you start doing, you will start feeling heat. So spend some time, but unless you spend time, you won't be able to learn. Try, experiment, fail, and of course you can ask me next time, we tried this, it didn't work, how to do it. Why this is okay. So I need to just check one quick thing. H is equal to 62, 4.33. So this was 50, so say 50-degree line. Some issue is happening in this. My line cal is failing. 32 mil, 64 mil, 32 mils. I want you guys to okay, you can do one thing. You can try with 62 mil, but I was thinking we might. Let me check if I have another substrate. 1 second. Let me confirm you substrate before you guys leave. That is important because I can send you. I have some presentation on this design. I can send it to you guys as well, because that might help you to at least see what is the what basically you can expect. Yeah, I will upload that as well as this workspace, whatever I have, and then you start working on adding these T's, adding these M subs, adding all these things to make sure you the values you are getting are reasonable enough and they are not crazy different. Okay, so transmission line length seems to be this. So M sub 62 mil. Yeah, I mean, you guys can use 62 mil. Line length will be very small. That's the thing. If I use 40, 36 mil. Okay, so yeah, you can use that same M sub. I don't think it's a problem. It's just the line length which you are using will be very small. So you will have to tune it carefully. But it should be okay. Like it is what it is. I was just thinking whether to use 62 mil or use. Can somebody do me a favor if you have LineCal open? No, let me see. Maybe let me try once again. Tools. LineCal. Okay, it works now. So what I'm saying is that oops, screen share. So right now what we have done is we have used in this example, I am using a substrate with this specification. So my ER is 4.33. My MUR is 1. My H is 62 mil. This T is 0.7. Conductivity is 4.1. So for conductivity is 5.96. E7. Okay. Frequency is 2.3. Okay, so let's see, 30 degrees, 50 ohm. So 50 ohm line with 30 degrees is equal to length of 234 mils. So what I want to do is I want to change this to 32 mils instead of 62. Okay, 62 mils. Maybe change this to 2.6. Okay, so I mean, what you can do, guys, is that your width is not okay. You can continue with the same M sub definition, what I have shown, and you design. You might feel that your this length of the match of transmission line might reduce to very small number. Okay, you might have to decrease it because your matching will be way off. Another way is when you are designing your matching networks, ideal matching networks, convert them to M-line matching networks directly there, and make sure your impedance you are getting is what G and GP impedances were, and you can put T junction there itself and try to tune part by part and start having everything together. This stuff takes time, so don't panic. Take your time, go step by step. I will upload this so that you know exactly what T is there and how do you. So what I will upload will be .7 archived file. So what you can do is you can just unarchive it. So let me show you, because I think you guys might not. So I will do file. Oh, sorry, not unarchive. I will archive this workspace. So I will say archive. Okay. So I will just want to rename it, because then you guys will also use. Let me see if I can rename it. File. Okay. Let's go. Oh, this is open. Okay, so to rename, I will have to rename it through directory. Okay, so what I will do archive workspace. Next. Okay, so this has been archived. So when you open your ADS, if you are unarchiving it, you will go file, unarchive, click that file, what I will upload, say next. Okay, it's saying that it needs different name. So just type in a name, and it has to be always underscore work. If it is not underscore work, it won't work. Finish. Okay. And now I will see all the files. So you can unarchive it and see what I did. But if you try to spend your time yourself adding this T, adding this ngap, you should be able to do it. And I will upload this and a document in which you can read how to further optimize this network. And what is your goal? Your goal is that while you keep adding these networks, you should get gain equal to max possible gain or closest to max possible gain. And at the same time, your network should start looking something like this. What we showed. So after the class, I'm uploading the documents right away, so that there is no delay, and you can check it and start tuning your circuit, so that in the next class you are ready, or at least have some progress, and then we can discuss and see how far you are in your update. Okay. So that's it. Any questions? If there are no questions, I will just save it, upload everything on Google Drive, and you can take stuff from there. Any questions? Okay, so sounds good. Please spend some time at home, and you know, this stuff seems complicated when I'm showing you, but when you start doing, you will start having more fun. So spend time, go step by step, and see how far you can go. And if you are not able to make much progress, then give me a let's talk on Thursday and see where you are. But I would like to see if we can finish this week, at least all that, and then start EM by Thursday. So I will appreciate if you can, you know, give some time and try to really make significant progress. And if not, you are not able to figure it out, then we will definitely go over it next time as well. So I am adding all this stuff to the lab section. Okay. And you guys can just take, I'm also adding my lecture 6 edition part, which is there, and as well as the workspace and a document which you can read and check how to use ngap and T's and all that stuff. Okay, sounds good. Take care, stay safe, and let's meet again on Thursday.
Okay, sir. Bye.
Bye guys, take care. Document I have to upload.